Tonight, you'll cook dinner. Maybe you'll throw something in a pan. Maybe you'll boil water. Maybe you'll just press a button on a microwave. Whatever it is, you'll do something that no other animal alive has ever done. You'll heat the food before you eat it. Once, somewhere around 1.5 million years ago, someone did this for the very first time. We don't know their name. We don't know their face. We don't know if they were a man, a woman, or a child. We don't even know exactly where they lived. They left no writing, no story, no painting. But every meal you have ever eaten, and every meal eaten by every human in every century before you, descends from that single moment. And what they did that night didn't just give us cooking, it gave us. Let's start with what humans were before that. For most of our evolutionary history, our ancestors ate the way every other great ape still eats today. Raw. Mostly plants, some insects, sometimes scavenged meat. The chimpanzee, our closest living relative, spends about 6 hours every single day just chewing. Raw food is hard to break down. It demands enormous teeth, a massive jaw, and a long, complex gut to extract the calories. Look at your own body for a second. Your teeth are small, your jaw is small, your gut is short. Compared to any other primate of similar size, your digestive system is about 60% of the volume it should be. You shouldn't be able to survive eating what you eat, unless something else does the digestion for you before you ever put it in your mouth. In 2009, Harvard anthropologist Richard Wrangham published a book called Catching Fire that put forward what is now one of the most accepted theories in human evolution. He called it the cooking hypothesis. His argument was that cooking didn't just improve human life. Cooking made humans. Cooked food releases dramatically more energy than raw food. Cooked starches deliver up to twice the calories. Cooked meat is more easily absorbed. Heat denatures proteins, breaks down cell walls, and pre-digests almost everything you put through it. A raw potato is barely food. A cooked one is a complete meal. Once our ancestors started cooking, the math of survival changed. The hours formerly spent chewing collapsed to minutes. Teeth shrank, jaws shrank, guts shrank. And the brain, the most expensive tissue in the body, consuming 20% of your energy at rest, finally had enough calories to grow. The size of the human brain tripled in the period after our ancestors started cooking. Tripled. Every thought you've ever had, every word you've ever spoken, every memory you've ever stored, every face you've ever recognized, sits inside a brain that exists because somebody, somewhere, figured out how to put food in a fire. But who? The honest answer is that we don't know exactly, but the evidence has been narrowing. The earliest solid trace of humans controlling fire comes from Wonderwerk cave in South Africa, dated to roughly 1 million years ago, where archaeologists have found burned animal bones and ash inside a cave deep enough that it couldn't have come from a natural wildfire. In Israel, the site of Gesher Benot contains evidence of controlled hearths from around 780,000 years ago. Sites in Kenya hint at even older use. The person who first cooked was probably not Homo sapiens. They were probably Homo erectus, an earlier species, taller, leaner, with a smaller brain than ours, but a body that already walked, ran, and threw the way you do. And here's what's strange. It almost certainly happened by accident. Imagine a lightning storm. A grass fire sweeps through a savanna. When the smoke clears, the small animals that couldn't outrun the flames are left where they fell, half-roasted, scattered across the ground. A small group of hominids walks through the burned field, picks up the carcasses, and finds that the meat is softer than anything they have ever tasted. The smell is rich in a way nothing they have ever eaten has been. One of them, hesitant, bites in. They chew once, then they keep chewing. This happens dozens of times across hundreds of thousands of years before anyone figures out that the fire is the reason. But eventually, somebody does. Somebody, one specific individual, sitting next to a fire for warmth, drops a piece of meat into it by mistake. They pull it out. They taste it. That single bite is the moment. We have no idea what they thought, whether they understood what had happened, whether they showed anyone else or kept it secret or repeated it the next day. We don't know if they died young or lived a long life. We don't know if their group made fun of them or revered them or simply imitated them. But somewhere in the next few generations, the technique spread. Slowly, across families, across bands, across the species. It took tens of thousands of years to become universal. The first cook taught no one. Their children watched them. Their children's children imitated those children. A technique we now think of as natural was, at the start, a strange habit practiced by a single odd family. And here's the part nobody talks about. The first cooked meal didn't just change the human body. It changed the human day. A raw food diet requires constant feeding. You eat as you forage, all day long, the way chimps still do. There's no point in saving food. It rots, it attracts predators, and your stomach can't process enough of it at once anyway. Cooked food is different. Cooked food keeps. Cooked food can be carried. Cooked food can be shared. For the first time in any primate's history, a group of our ancestors could gather around something they had prepared together in a single place at the end of the day. The first dinner. The first shared meal in human history was almost certainly the first time a group of hominids sat in a circle, with nothing else to do, and looked at each other while they ate. This is the moment most anthropologists now believe culture began. Stories require shared time. Language requires shared time. Music, ritual, mourning, planning, all of it requires shared time. And the dinner, the cooked meal eaten together around the fire, invented shared time as a daily ritual. We didn't just get bigger brains. We got somewhere to use them. And here is what almost nobody understands. The first cook was not trying to invent anything. They were not trying to change the species. They were hungry. They were probably tired. They probably had no idea that what they were doing would matter at all. But every meal you have ever eaten, every birthday dinner, every breakfast, every quiet sandwich at your desk, runs in an unbroken line back to that one moment, that one person, that one accidental bite by a fire in a place we will never find. You will never know their name, but they are inside you every time you eat. They are the reason your jaw is small enough to speak. They are the reason your brain is large enough to wonder about them. They are the reason your evenings exist as a thing distinct from your days. They are the reason humans, alone among animals, ever stopped chewing long enough to look up. Tonight, when you sit down to dinner, whatever it is, however you cook it, however small it feels, you are doing the oldest human thing there is. You are doing what they did first. And somewhere, in some quiet place, you are still saying thank you for it. You just don't remember their name.